Attention passionate Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Pittsburgh Steelers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying attention to the NFL news cycle lately, you know that the landscape of the AFC North might be about to shift dramatically, and it's all centered around one of the league's most promising young cornerbacks, Patrick "Certain." Rumors are swirling, and they're pointing toward a potential blockbuster trade that could reshape not only the fortunes of the Denver Broncos, but also send shockwaves through the division, and more specifically, impact what the Steelers are trying to build this season and beyond. So let's set the scene. The Denver Broncos, currently sitting at a disappointing 1-6 record, are facing a crossroads. Their secondary, which was supposed to be a strength with Certain anchoring down one side, has been leaking yards and giving up big plays. The defense as a whole has struggled, allowing 4-5 yards per play, which is pretty poor by NFL standards. And with such a rough record, the front office is apparently considering major moves to reset their roster and rebuild for the future, especially since they're about to open up around $15 million in cap space by trading Certain. That's a significant amount of money that they could redirect into a rebuild, maybe even acquire more draft picks and young talent to turn things around. And that's where it gets really interesting for Steelers fans. The rumors suggest that Denver is open to trading Certain, one of the best shutdown corners in the league, in exchange for a second-round pick in the 2026 draft plus a fourth-rounder in 2027. Just imagine that for a second. We're talking about a player who has already established himself as a true elite at just 24 years old, with a career total of 12 interceptions, 48 pass defenses, and a PFF grade of 98. That's not just good, that's Hall of Fame caliber for a young player. He's a guy who, in 2025, has already recorded 4 interceptions, 18 pass defenses, and allowed just 52% completion percentage when targeted, with an EPA per target of -0.45, all while remaining injury-free. He's a consistent force on the field, evoking comparisons to Revis Island in his prime, and he's only getting better. His success rate in jam coverage is 68%, and he's allowed just 2.8 yards per target. Those numbers are superior even to other top-tier cornerbacks like Porter Jr., who has a PFF grade of 85.6. It's easy to see why Certain is considered an all-pro, a true shutdown corner who can change the entire dynamic of a secondary. Now for the Denver Broncos, this trade might seem like a reset button, a way to shed some cap space and start fresh, much like what the Chicago Bears did earlier this season. Many analysts see the move as a clear indication they're going into rebuild mode, especially given their struggles on defense and the odds of reaching the playoffs this year, which are currently around plus 25-0 to win the AFC West. The team's defense in particular has been underperforming, giving up 4.5 yards per play, and their cots are quite high considering the current results. But for the Steelers, this potential trade could be a game changer. Imagine a defense with Certain lining up opposite Patrick Peterson, who has been a veteran presence but is clearly on the decline. Certain's addition would bring a level of elite coverage that the Steelers have been craving since losing key players like Joe Haden or even beyond. With Certain on the field, opponents would have a much harder time throwing against Pittsburgh's secondary, especially considering the improved tackling and coverage stats he would bring. In fact, the impact would be immediate. Certain's presence would likely reduce the yardage opponents gain through passes from around 218 yards per game to closer to 180. That's a substantial drop, and it would inevitably lead to more punts, more turnovers, and a significant boost in the Steelers' overall defensive efficiency. If we look at historical comparisons, we can see how a player like Certain can elevate a secondary, similar to what Gilmore did with the Colts in 2022, boosting their overall defensive production and turning them into a more formidable unit. And here's an interesting angle. Certain's addition to the Steelers wouldn't just be about stopping quarterbacks. It would also be about creating turnovers. His ability to generate INTs, already 4 on the season, would help Pittsburgh turn defense into offense, a crucial ingredient in any championship run. The Steelers have the talent on offense, and if their defense can tighten up with a player of Certain's caliber, they could become one of the toughest teams in the AFC. Now, the betting odds are reflecting this potential shift. Currently, Certain's name has odds of around +1, 800 to +750 for MVP-type impact, especially when matched up against top wide receivers like Jamar Chase. That's because Certain's skill set makes him a genuine X-factor, capable of shutting down the league's best pass catchers. For Steelers fans, this isn't just about acquiring a talented player. It's about envisioning a future where Pittsburgh's defense is dominant again, reminiscent of the classic steel curtain days, but with a modern twist. Just think about it. Adding Certain would position the Steelers as a defensive force, elevating their status to that of an elite unit, akin to the legacy of players like Woodson. It's about forging an identity that commands respect across the league, building an empire of titles that could last for years. The Steelers, with their storied history of defensive excellence, could very well be on the verge of rekindling that championship flame with a move like this. Of course, nothing is certain in the NFL, and there are caveats. Denver might be capping their rebuild by trading Certain, but they're also taking a risk. Giving up such a talented young player can backfire if the team doesn't hit on draft picks or develop other parts of the roster. For the Steelers, though, this could be a golden opportunity. They're currently sitting with around $20 million in cap space, which gives them some flexibility to absorb Certain's salary and integrate him smoothly into their scheme. And let's not forget, the Steelers are leading the AFC North at 4-3. They're in a good spot to make a push for the playoffs, but they need to shore up their secondary, especially after parts of the season have exposed some weaknesses. A player like Certain could serve as a cornerstone for the defense, a piece that elevates everyone around him. With Porter Jr. still developing and the rest of the secondary looking for consistent playmakers, Certain would be the missing piece that turns Pittsburgh into a true top-tier defensive team. This potential trade also raises questions about the long-term outlook for the Steelers. Could they be aggressive in the market? Could they use this as a catalyst to make a deeper run this season? And if they do pull the trigger and add Certain, how will that change their approach in the second half of the season? Given how close they are to being a true contender, this move could be the difference between a playoff exit and a deep postseason run. And now, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think Certain II is the missing piece for Pittsburgh? Would you be willing to part with future picks for a player of his caliber? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinions matter so much to us and to the Steelers' future. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news because the NFL world is never standing still, and neither are we.